Ren, and then it kind of just snowballed from there.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Well, you've had quite a lifetime and a career in music, and I think you seem to be responding well to the unusual circumstances. For those of you who are tuned into the All Request Thursdays that Josh does every week, pretty much. I mean, it's been for me and lots of folks one of the great kind of calming, enjoyable, connecting parts of kind of being quarantined and staying at home so much is Josh playing music. So, I think all of us are just, worried about the music scene and the industry and the artists. And, you seem to be floating with so much great energy and making the most of those Thursdays. But how is it going for you, man?
It's yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I'm very thankful for what I've got going on. I think that I think that my career, my life in music has always been something that has been, it's not it's never been something that's been predictable. It's always been something that I've had to kind of like just shift with and evolve with and adapt constantly. And there's always been like a door opening and a door closing, and you kind of never know. It's almost, you just keep working at it, and you just keep going and keep going. And and sometimes you get hit with roadblocks, and sometimes doors open, and a lot of times it's like almost rolling the dice. And so this whole situation, I mean, back in March, there was one day I remember I got a call from my booking agency in the morning, and then my management company, and then all of a sudden I was on the phone all day, and all the gigs were just dropping out, and so my whole spring and summer just went away. It was like one day I just was like, and so there was a period of total panic, and just being thrown for a loop. And I feel like I had to figure out there's some things. I mean, obviously it's like, I need to be able to make some money, but I also needed to feel that connection with people, and that's the reason why I've been doing this for so long, is maintaining a connection with people, is being in some way it's kind of a life for people to gather around in some way, and creating an environment for people to be in. And if I can't do that in person, then I figured that I started pretty quickly doing this online things, and I realized, for me at least, it was a big mental health boost. It was like on Thursday I could check in with people. There was a ton of people there,
Yeah.
some that I knew, some that I didn't, folks from all around the world, and
Yeah.
people talking to one another, and for me it's like the reason I kind of do this, for a while I was doing these like themed nights where I had all this, and that was really fun.
Yeah.
But I've switched to the All Request thing because I want it to be more off the cuff. I want people to feel really involved. I want people to feel like they're a part of it,
Yeah.
and hopefully it's as helpful for people as it is for me. So I've been doing that, and I've been teaching. I teach at Interlochen Center for the Arts, Interlochen Arts Academy, teaching songwriting a couple days a week, and then I teach from here virtually
Wow.
the other 3 days of the week, and it's busy, but it's been going well. I'm really thankful. I know there's a lot of other musicians and artists and venues that are having a harder time than I am, and I'm feeling for them, but I'm also thankful for what I've got going on.
Wow. Thanks for that
Yeah.
context, that sense of where you are. If you're just tuning in, this is Josh Davis, who is a friend and a musician and a creative thinker and a great human being, who's going to be our feature performer at the Groundwork Harvest at Home event Saturday, October 10th. You can learn all about that on our website. Also, speaking of that event, our live auction, which is fantastic, is live right now. We just turned it on about 10 minutes ago. So you can start bidding. Got a whole week to get yourself motivated and
Right.
acquire some stuff and support our cause. Um, So those events on Thursday really are community gatherings, and I just find them fun. I mean, it's hard to do online stuff. And we're really looking at this harvest event, thinking we need to make this a fun community event.
Mhm.
And I think one of the reasons your presence is helping is that you're already doing that on Thursday nights, and I'm still blown away with the level of enthusiasm for you as a musician. And people are like, you got Josh Davis? Oh my God, I got to check that out. I'm like, well, that's cool, man. Right on. I mean, I got friends from I haven't seen in forever who are
Oh,
contacting me
great.
about it. So you're adding a lot to our energy as well. Um, and what I like about those Thursdays is it's almost like you're kind of walking back through great gigs you've done and venues and relationships and bands, and it's just so human, and your enjoyment really does come through. I
That's
mean,
good to hear.
it is really it's meaningful, and it feels really soulful, and I appreciate
Good.
that. One question I have about it is,
Yeah.
it does blow my mind that you can like move across genre and musicians and like step into one request to another so amazingly. Like, how would you how does a musician like you develop that breadth of ability and content in different types of music, and have so much going on in your head and in your fingers?
I think it's my ADD really kicking in. I that's funny that you mentioned that. I do a lot, like, I want the Thursdays to be off the cuff, and a lot of times a lot of my shows are like that too. And my wife's always like, you should probably finish some songs sometimes. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, and it's like I want it to be really in the moment, and I love that feeling of. I've never really been one to write set lists. I've never really been one to, because I just want to feel what's going on right then. And I realized that the online format lends itself really well to that. If I'm watching all the comments scroll by and I'm like, it's just fun to be interactive in that way, and we can still do that virtually, and it feels good. It feels like a human connection. As far as like the cross genre thing, I think it was just my upbringing. I grew up going to music festivals and seeing all this kind of wide range of, from being down in Detroit, going to Hart Plaza. My folks took me to all these music festivals at Hart Plaza, from world music festivals to blues fest to the bluegrass fests to the rock and roll stuff. And it was just a constant, I just found that my love for music wasn't genre specific. And then playing with Steppin' in it for so long, that was a band that kind of was able to do whatever we wanted, sometimes to a fault. We just kind of were all over the place. And so I tended to write songs. I wasn't like held back in my songwriting at all. I could write to whatever. And so for a long time, I wrote real genre specific stuff. And so it's kind of I have a it's kind of insatiable curiosity for music, and I just want to always get deeper into it. And so when I hear something that I like, I want to learn how to do that. If I hear Reverend Gary Davis play a specific guitar lick, I want to be like, hey, check that out. And if I hear like,
There's one.
you know what I mean? If I hear like Oliver Mtukudzi, play this cool a cool thing, I want to check that out too. And hopefully that all kind of blends together and finds its way into my music.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I am seriously grateful to your parents for giving you that early on. And
Yeah.
we all try to be the best parents that we can, and I've done my best. And I think one thing that I've done well with Maureen is my kids have a pretty rich musical context and can go in all different directions. My dad was a big Johnny Cash and Earl Scruggs fan, so
Nice.
and a lot of other big band stuff and other stuff that I never really took with. But most of my exploration came kind of on my own, just going
Mhm.
through the used record shop. There wasn't Spotify. There was a whole
Yeah.
different world when I was a kid,
Yes.
and finding music when you're in your adolescence hits you in a different way. And I think
It does.
you had that experience, and now you're bringing it forward and helping other people connect to that music.
That's nice to hear, Hans. Yeah, yeah, it was a good thing. We had a lot of records at home, and I would after I remember after middle school every day I would go home and just pick out records from the shelf and put them on. And
So I have to ask you a little bit about the blues because I grew up in Chicago, and that was my thing when I was a kid. I got myself a fake ID when I was 16 years old and went to blues bars all the time on the bus.
that was a time. What? All right. So, I mean, that was when a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Oh yeah, Junior Wells owned the Checkerboard Lounge on the South
Wow,
Side, which was about 10 minutes from my house. We
amazing.
would go there all the time and just be there, you know. And a lot of times they weren't big name blues artists, but they were fantastic. And I never saw the Rolling Stones show up. We would always go there after the Stones would come to
Of course.
town, hoping that they would. But it was just a great, you know. I'm 16 years old, just
Yeah,
front and center, you know, with a
amazing.
real time, authentic blues experience. So anyway, tell me about how you got your blues sound. Gary Davis is a great name. Any other
Lots.
kind of mentors
Yeah.
or
Uh,
idols of yours?
well, I got to, when I was young, when I was a kid, like I said, I would go to all these, festivals, and Hart Plaza, and then I would always in the summers I would go to Hiawatha Music Festival up in Marquette, and I got to see. I remember seeing Dave Van Ronk, um, when I was a little kid, and then also seeing Spider John Corner, who's still alive, and he's out of the Twin Cities, out of Minnesota, incredible blues player. Um, but so I kind of got like I was watching those guitar players from an early age,
Mhm.
but then I think that what really happened was, before I started playing guitar, or when I kind of started being interested in it, one of these days I from coming home from school, I came home and I would just I would we had this floor to ceiling, wall to wall record collection at my mom's house, and I would just pull records off the shelf, and kind of, it was a huge, it was all over the place. It was like, avant-garde jazz, and there was like blues and rock and roll, and classical music, and all this stuff, and I would just pull records off the shelves. And one day I pulled this Mississippi John Hurt record off the shelf, right? And I put it on, and I just started listening to it, and I was like totally captivated. Like everything else just kind of went away, and I listened to that, and I was blown away by just the rawness of it and the realness. And I think that's the thing that really captivated me, was the fact that there wasn't anything else there. It was just him, and it was raw, and it was like, and his songwriting, it was just so honest, and I still like, he's still my favorite. John Hurt. And so I started learning. That's how I kind of started learning. I started learning, listening to him, and I had, Reverend Gary, when I listened to like Reverend Gary Davis, and Blind Boy Fuller, and Pink Anderson and stuff like that. It was like a little too complicated. John Hurt was like
Mhm.
still kind of, I mean, it was tough, but it was still, stuff that I could kind of land on. And so I started working on that. And then it just kind of snowballed, and listening to lots of other old blues stuff. And it was always, and then I started getting into Chicago stuff, early Muddy Waters, anything Willie Dixon ever did, all the Howlin' Wolf stuff. I mean, Sunnyland Slim, the piano stuff I got into really heavy. So there's just a world out there, and I fell in love with I was listening to, it's funny, I was listening to punk rock at the same time. So I was super into, into 80s and late 70s punk rock, and the sensibilities, right,
Mhm.
were really similar in those two musics. And just the fact that it was from the gut, it was real, it was raw. The stuff that they were singing about was really like, dark in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
And the energy was there, and so it was a real, it was kind of like I would just go back and forth, between listening to the Sex Pistols, and Replacements, and to the Reverend,
That's
so
fantastic.
yeah, fun.
That is so fantastic. It's actually very similar to how I got into music at that early age too. Um, and I love that Mississippi John Hurt is high on your list because
He's,
he's
yeah, he's
at
number
the
one.
top of my list, man.
Yeah,
And that's, I think, one of the reasons I love your music so much is you found a connection with Mississippi John Hurt and how you play the guitar, man. I hear that in you, and
yeah,
I just think we this is going to be a short interview, but we could go on for hours about these topics. Like, I want to know what it means to lay my pallet on your floor. What does that mean, John Hurt? There's so many things that you could teach me about this, but we won't get it too much into it because, you know, this is a family program here, and we'll talk about our upcoming event, which is the Harvest at Home groundwork party on Saturday, October 10th. Josh is going to tune in right about 7:30 and he's going to play one tune, and you're going to be like, wow, that was awesome. And then we're going to wrap up our big variety show. And then at 8 o'clock, Josh is going to play a full set for us. And and we haven't figured out exactly what that's going to be. I'm going to hope there's a little blues, but we're going to have some fun with it. And probably, you know, there'll be an interactive component too. So October 10th is our event. We just launched our auction for 8 days leading up to the event. Groundwork is an awesome organization. We're doing great work for the environment and the communities in Northern Michigan and beyond. We've had some huge victories lately. Governor Whitmer signed an executive order to make Michigan carbon neutral by 2050. Yeah. Just this week, she signed a budget which provides local food to school kids in every school district across Michigan, which puts Michigan on the map as one of the best farm to school programs in the country. So we're doing really our best, and we're not letting the pandemic slow us down. We're keeping our mission moving, just like Josh is keeping his music connected to his network of community.
Man, Hans, I gotta say, you know, it's nice to hear all this. It's so good to hear some positive movement. You know what I mean? Now it's there's so much that's kind of been been difficult to stomach lately, and to hear that there's that you guys and a lot of wonderful organizations are doing some great work, and that we've got such good governance here in Michigan right now, in the way of Whitmer, and she's doing some really cool things. It's just it's gives me a little bit of hope, you know what I mean? And that's amazing. And you guys are pushing at it. And
you've got to find hope. If you're not waking up and saying, what can I do? How can I add a little love, a little brightness? You know, the alternative is not worth. You can't go there. You have to. And when you can do that as a community, an organization, as a musician, connecting community, you know, there's it's something that's really important right now, more important than ever, I think. And something I speak with my daughters about, you know, how do you find hope? You know, what does love look like? How do we create energy to move towards the light? And
you've always been one that has, I feel like, has always just had this boundless energy, and that's something that inspires me. You know, it's like a constant drive. It's a push, and so I'm really happy to be lending what I do to Groundwork, you know, and to be helping out a little bit.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So one last point I want to make. We'll wrap this up. But this is pretty fun. It was 1996, and it was our Michigan Land Use Institute, which was the same organization with the previous name as Groundwork. And it was in Benzie County where we started. And we had our 1-year birthday party. And Alicia Harrison, who knew Steppin' in It, said, hey, we're having a party at the Cabbage Shed, which is in Alberta, one of the best bar community centers in the world, as far as I'm concerned. And we had a party, and she said, I know this band Steppin' in It. We should have them come up and play. I'm like, that sounds cool. Let's do it. And you all came up and just rocked the house for still one of the best shows and best gatherings I've ever been a part of. So that was our 1-year birthday party. And now this year is our 25-year birthday party. So it's really meaningful to us. And I want to thank you. But I also want to ask, like, how's the Steppin' in It vibe, man? I mean, I know it's not happening, but how does that fit into your life? Because that's how many of us know you for so long. Is the Steppin' in It jam band.
Yeah, well, I will say that that was our first out-of-town gig. We were just coming up. We were like college kids at MSU in Lansing, and we know Alicia from Lansing, and we were playing a bunch of college parties and playing some venues down there. And when we got that gig, we were like, yeah, I guess we can play out of town, right? You know, and cool. That was the first step in like a series of many years playing, like, 200, 250 shows all across the country, touring in a van for, months at a time. And that was the realization. We came up there, and I remember like being like, it just felt like, oh, this is what I want to be doing, and not only that, but I remember that was the open door. That was when I first really spent any time up here in Northwest Michigan, and I remember just thinking, man, this would be a great place to be, you know.
Wow.
You know,
Here you are.
years later, you know, so I'm thankful for that on many accounts. But yeah, stepping into it is I feel like we are, you know, these are my, you know, my brothers, and we've all got different things going on, and you know, I don't think that band is ever going to not play.
Great.
You know, it might be like a couple times a year, it might be not at all for a year. I mean, this year, you know, but it's never something that that's going to go away. And every time we do get back together, I feel like it's just an immediate thing. It's like we're back in, you know, back doing it again. And it's how I learned how to play growing up with those guys. And so I'm very thankful for that time. And it's a lot of fun, that band.
We're never not gonna play together is a great thing to know. I felt that, but it's
yeah, absolutely, man.
So everyone who's listening, Josh is going to be singing with us, playing with us on Saturday, October 10th. It's the Groundwork Harvest at Home event. We're really thrilled about it. We don't have to talk about it, but I need to put a plug in. Also about Josh's Thursday nights on his Facebook page. You definitely want to check that out, and just go to Facebook, get on Joshua Davis, and every Thursday night he does a all request live show from his home, and it is really, really fantastic.
Okay.
So I'm hopeful that Josh is bringing a new constituency, new people to our organization, and I'm hoping we bring some new people to Josh's life and work as well. So I feel a real mutual connection. I need to put a plug in for one of your Thursdays. Is my buddy Tim Bush from college says, why can't you play some Traveling Wilburys for me, please?
Oh man, you know, I
throw my boy Tim off now.
He missed it. I played one for him.
Oh, you did? Oh, all right. Then you're
so
good.
I'm gonna do it. I'll do it again. I'm gonna try to work it up for this next Thursday. I saw him there. I saw him there last night.
25 years. Like, hey, we got Josh Davis. So that's fun. Sweet. I appreciate the spirit there. Well, thank you, man. We're really excited. You're just adding a lot to our humble organization, and we're looking forward to kind of a big community gathering on October 10th. And just want to thank you for your time this morning and wish you a great week, and we'll see you real soon.
Same, man. It's a pleasure to be involved.
All right. Take care.
Thanks, Hans.